I started off with a fascination, a long story in itself. When I was about 3, my earliest memories of looking at the sky and wondering what these dots of light in the sky were. That was my early memory of astronomy, pointing to them. My grandmother saying, "They're the stars." I didn't know what they were. She didn't say, "Oh, they're like the sun, but very far away. The balls of glowing hot gas." I might have forgotten all about it. And then following that, I saw one night a meteor with my father, who said to me, "Did you see that?" And what he said was, "Did you see that shooting star?" It was only about 4. And I thought, gosh, a star has shot. Literally, I took it literally. A star has shot from the sky. I went around for months and months, I remember this clearly, looking up at the sky, looking at the bright stars to see if they would shoot.
Obviously, having studied literary theory a lot, I was very aware of the literary narrative tradition and did want to go against that to some extent. We live in a world where it's pretty unsustainable, really. I mean, to sit down, I mean, you couldn't be like Charles Dickens now and sit down and write this great long sequential thing. Nobody would be interested in reading it. You have to have you have to reflect the reality of society, which is a fractured, fragmented, complex, convoluted kind of existence. And I wanted to put all that in and create, as I mentioned to you earlier, a kind of carnival of voices, kind of based around Mikhail Bakhtin's kind of concept of writing being a kind of polyphony of voices, which interests me a lot.
A common question from adults and children is, but what's at the end of the universe? And I say to them, the first thing you've got to stop thinking about, and it's very difficult, you need some training and some thought, is the universe has started at a point in the middle of this room, was expanding into something or into nothing. You don't think this way. The universe is its entirety at any given point in time. There's no outside that it's expanding into. And that's a very difficult thing for people. It's not intuitive again. We think of things, explosion occurring and blowing up into air or space or whatever. That's a very hard thought. So the basic thoughts of cosmology are quite difficult for the average person who hasn't thought about them, because they just haven't thought about them. They're not natural. And you've got to introduce it to them and let them think about it for a while before they start saying, "Oh, I see what you mean." That's what's rather nice here. People will say, "Oh, I see, yes." And you're setting them thinking. And I hope that hopefully they'll also go home and have a thought about it and perhaps get something out of it.
Sometimes your writing can precede your thoughts, it can go beyond what you're thinking, or you can start out with a fairly banal thought, and just by working there in longhand or on a screen, somehow you can push that idea much further than you thought, or it connects with something else in the subconscious, and suddenly 2 + 2 = about 16, you know, and shoot on, that kind of thing. I find that happens a lot. Yeah. And that's the best time in terms of writing, and that's the most exciting, when you've created something that you know to be something quite exciting or interesting, and you don't know where it's come from, and that's the beauty of it. You know, where has this come from? I've produced this in the last 2 hours when I'm sitting here, and I don't know where it's come from. I mean, I love that feeling, which is quite rare, really. You don't get it all the time, you know, but it's good when you do.